A tree wrapped to spin fire. The NFT analyzer. Diving deep into projects. He's the crypto energizer. From your meme coins to tokens. He's got all the intel. Web3 is a tree to show you where to excel. He's got the insights like a digital magician, unveiling secrets of the blockchain with precision. Wild stories from the web, he's always in the know. Crypto community, vibing where the treasures flow.
Good morning, Mega GM Slam Nation. Okay, holiday week. One I'm pretty damn excited for. Just going to be honest here. Coming off a big week last week. Look, it might be slow out there. It might be slow out there in the news, and it's maybe a little slow out there in the market. I can promise you no slowing down here this week. Man, I got a fun show today. Especially sometimes when we're, prepping for the show on especially a slower news week, you're looking for what's that story? What's that topic? What's that thing we're going to be chewing on for the day? And today's was interesting. Listening to an interview with Jordy Visser and just taking it all in, getting his thoughts on the market and really where we're heading next year. And you never know where that inspiration comes from. All of a sudden, listening to it and at a random point in the interview, they start talking about AI investments and how there's so few opportunities out there to actually invest in AI. And so if you've been tuning into this show and you've been following what we've been doing for the past year, I think we're in, I'd say, a pretty special part or corner of crypto that lets you invest in AI in a way that I think most people in the traditional markets aren't even aware of yet. So today we're going to go check out parts of that interview. We're, of course, going to go look at what I'm really talking about, which is virtuals and the opportunities that are there. I mean, every day, every single day. But we got to appreciate those opportunities. I think most people don't even realize they're there. So we'll get into that today. Of course, we'll talk some market. We'll look at virtuals. We're going to look at some NFT stuff. But I do want to dive into that interview. There's some really interesting points there about interest rates next year. Where Bitcoin's heading, and again, the AI investment opportunities. So let's get into it, guys. We're live right now on Abstract. Actually, lied. Hang on, we're half live on Abstract. It's a little process. We're not there. We'll be live in a minute over there. We're live on X. We're live on Kick. We might actually be live on Zora this morning too, which is brand new. GG's to the base team and everything they're cooking and shipping and my goodness, those guys. In fact, yeah, let me kick off the Zora stream. Brand new. If you guys here, we'll put it on the screen here for you too. If you guys are new to Zora, tokenize everything, creator coins. They've just opened it up for live streaming for everybody. So we did our first stream over there this weekend. It makes sense to be streaming. I see Obese live right now. Interesting. Oh, I dig it. Okay, I don't want to jump through hoops live here. So maybe we'll actually wait and get this stream going like tomorrow going forward. But yeah, keep an eye out over on Zora. We will be streaming over there too. Anyway, hit the like on the show wherever you're watching right now, especially over on YouTube. I assume you're watching over there. If you're not, you should be. It's Crypto Slam over on that side. I hope so, Moonship. I hope so, dude. I mean, gold and silver, you guys saw all-time highs. And Bitcoin, not so much, huh? And still... Look, I'll make that bet that it's still coming. All right, hit the like. Let's go. Let's get into it. Hit the like on the show. Subscribe to Crypto Slam on YouTube. Make sure you're following. You might be already, but make sure you're following Ethoswarm over on X. If you are a Swarm holder and have been following the Swarm over on X, you're all good. You're in the right spot already. You've been doing your thing. Okay, hang on. I am getting the Zora stream going. Might as well. But especially if you were tuning into the big stream last week, you got your first taste of what's coming. Just a little what appetizer. You got a little appetizer for what's coming here. What the hell? Let's play the trailer even. I mean, Moonship, you know what? I like that. I appreciate like the voice of reason there too, dude. There's a lot of people doing victory laps because of where we're at right now. Look, I get it. I get nobody having confidence in the market. The victory laps about where we're at now and how we have so much further to fall. And I get it. If you're going by technicals, sure. It's not what we're doing here. We're waiting for the moment where things are different. I know that's a meme, but that is going to happen. That is coming. In fact, when we check out that interview with Jordy Visser, he says it too. I think the smartest people out there realize that we don't know what things are going to look like within the next 5 years. And in fact, he's saying 3 years out, we have no idea. And that's what we're trying to be here and ready for. Some of you guys trade in the market. Some of you guys active traders. And these levels matter. And the short term matters. I get it. And a lot of us know. We want to stay plugged in and we want to make sure we know where things are trending and when it looks like they're coming because we want to be ready to get ahead of, well, certain moves, the bigger moves. And that's what I'm here for. Okay. Waitlist is open for Ethos Swarm, guys. And I do want to play this trailer. Shout out to the team for putting this together. It's actually pretty sweet. But here we go. All right, not far off. Not far off at all. Coming early next year. More details to come. This is pretty cool. This is a really, really, let's say, like just a big evolution of a lot of things we've been working on for a long, long time. You got a little talk of it. Again, you got little hints of it during the big live show. More to come soon. Can't wait. Can't wait. All right, follow Ethos Swarm over on X. Of course, follow us at SlamNation X over on X, especially if you're a builder in this space. Man, if you're building dashboards, if you're building agents, if you're building crypto products, and you need data to power your platforms, you do. Even if you have data providers, you need the best data to power your platforms here. And we have that for you with, goodness, I think, are we talking many, many terabytes? I'm trying to remember if we're talking like hundreds of terabytes. It's a lot. We have a lot of data, especially on ETH and especially on Base. No better data to power your applications. Come join us in Slam Nation X. Also want you on the show. So again, builders out there, come join us. Send us a DM over on Slam Nation X. We'll bring you in. We'll give you some credits to access our API. And if you need custom endpoints, again, on ETH and on Base, we'll build those for you. Good stuff. Follow us at CryptoSlam.io. All right. Here's the part that hurts. Here's the part that's going to hurt, boys. Moonship, you might. You might. You'll see. Just wait. You just might. Especially, God, I can't say. Never mind. Never mind. I'm so tempted to start dropping little tidbits, but no. Boys, we're on pace for our second worst Q4 ever. It's looking that way. I'm a believer in the Santa rally. I think we end Q4 probably down still, but not as bad as we're at right now. I'm getting close to the point where money where my mouth is, and I might start making a bet like that. I might start making that kind of bet. Santa rally starting this week. We'll see. Anyway, right now, not looking great. In fact, this is one of the more interesting things, which is U.S. consumer sentiment. Of course, they got a chart for it, right? Well, of course. At its lowest level ever. Comparing this to 9/11, comparing this to COVID, comparing it to Black Monday. Worst ever right now. It reflects what everybody's feeling. No confidence in the market. Nobody understands where we're going. You know what? If there's a topic, if there's like a word to sum up like 2025, could it be like uncertainty? It's something like that. Nobody has any feel for where this is going in a certain time frame. Nobody's confused about where we're going 5 or 10 years from now. Nobody is. But next week and next month and next year, I don't think anybody knows. I think everybody's guessing. And it reflects it right there. Not feeling great out there. At the same time, there it is. It's gold hitting an all-time high. It's silver hitting an all-time high, both of them. Metal's doing incredible. Bitcoin, not. And that's unexpected for us. We think there's other things, there's other factors there with Bitcoin. I think we're pretty sure about that, especially the fallout from 1010. We'll touch on that a little today too. But this is a worldwide thing. Japan's 10-year government bond yield, 2.1%. I think 2.10 we'll say, but up 100 basis points this year. Again, just adding to uncertainty out there in the markets. And the crypto fear and greed index, still an extreme fear. It's actually up. But it sums up everything. No confidence anywhere. You know what? Not even Michael Saylor had enough confidence to buy Bitcoin. Unless, if you guys saw another tweet out there that he bought, but I saw their tweet this morning, there was no Bitcoin purchase. They did add to their cash reserves. So they added another 748 mil. Good. But no Bitcoin buy this week that I saw. Maybe says a lot. Maybe. All right, let's refresh this. Take a look at prices right now. We were briefly over 90K. Bitcoin right now at 89. Let's give it that little bit more. 89.9. ETH over 3,000 still. BNB 865, Ripple 193, and Solana 127. Fine, right? We're up in the past 24 hours. And let's see this week. I think we might have an interesting week ahead of us. Just a gut feel. ETF volume on Friday. Not so great. 158 million outflows over on the Bitcoin ETFs. Over on Ethereum. God, I can't wait to get to the interview here. Oh, speaking of, we got some pretty awesome guests coming up. It's a mix of virtuals and actually outside as well. So we got some pretty cool stuff coming. So just a heads up about that. I'll even spoil one. Neox will be on the show here soon. So we'll get that locked in and announced. But Neox, one of the hotter things launching on virtuals recently. Can't wait for that. All right, hey, throw a little love on this tweet. And then we're looking at what? ETH. 75.9 million outflows. And Solana doesn't move the opposite way. Usually does. And yes, 3.6 million inflows. Again, over on the Solana side. Right, everybody's talking market, figuring out where we're going. Is it a bear market? You could make that argument. You may technically be able to say we are there now. I think we might be there. And some still argue we've been in a bear market, a crypto bear market for the past year. Again, there's a technical definition for a bear market. Now, I don't think we were there earlier this year. We might now. We might be there now. But people are definitely saying it, and it certainly feels like that. And look, I'll just say this. The path towards, I don't want to say crypto adoption, but let's say the prices that come with crypto adoption, it might be a longer road than we thought. I don't think we realized all of it yet, but we've got an uphill battle in 2026. I'll say that for sure, okay? One of our biggest crypto allies, there we go, Cynthia Loomis, is not seeking re-election next year. I can't think of I can't think of a bigger crypto ally, proponent, whatever, pushing for the strategic Bitcoin reserve, pushing for crypto framework, will not be here as a voice for crypto going forward. In her remaining time, she is pushing for the crypto framework, for the Clarity Act. But after that done, we lose one of our loudest voices for the strategic Bitcoin reserve and how it's funded. Again, things are starting to get stacked against us a bit. Here's part of the Jordy Fizzer interview talking about 1010. I'm not going to play this clip because we're going to go through the whole interview, not listen to the whole thing, but we're going to go break parts of it down. But where he talks about 1010, and again, things stacked against us right now, the fallout from 1010, he's saying he thinks 30% of the market makers went out of business. And that's something we keep hearing over and over and over. We keep hearing that, that maybe Wintermute was one of them. And he's not even totally sure on the figure. He heard it elsewhere too. We're just kind of trusting some reports out there, but that 30% of market makers are kaput. I believe it. Something happened that day that we still don't know fully, but like at a fundamental level, something changed in crypto. It ain't great. Clarity Act, we talked about this, but was supposed to be passed in December. Not happening now. It's hopefully going to pass in January, but I'm not counting on that either. I'm not counting on that, and that's yet another one of those things stacked against us right now. And I will say this. What's up, Zober? Good morning, man. I'll say this too. I think a lot of the uncertainty and things like that, I think it's mostly priced in at this point. I do. Not saying we can't fall further, because of course we can. In fact, like part of me still expects that to happen. But at this point, like when we got rate cuts and we assumed it was mostly priced in, it was. At this point, I believe most of the bad news or most of the uncertainty is priced in. And that doesn't mean there can't be and maybe won't be black swan event or bad news that sends us lower. That absolutely can happen, almost definitely will happen. I don't think we live much lower for a long period of time. But again, that said, I think all the uncertainty is mostly priced in here. Excuse me, anywhere from here in the 80K range. Mostly priced in. I believe that. Luckily, we got some bullish stuff too. We're going to touch on this and then get to that interview here, but there is a crypto tax framework that's been proposed. Love to see it. We'll take some time and do a deeper dive into that, because I think that's important. I don't think there's anything worse than crypto taxes, and things coming to maybe make that easier. So some good news there. But we're also heading into, and by the way, I believe in some of the, I believe in the 4chan Anon with the top and bottom predictions now. I have to. I have to believe in it, because it's just too crazy for him to nail that call, right? Called the top of the market on October 6th. Called the bottom of this market coming October 2nd next year. Okay, I still think we see all-time highs between. But this is a classic chart. You see this pop up in your timeline, classic chart, and it actually works. It actually works. So, we might actually live in a simulation. It actually does work. But 2026 is supposed to be a really interesting year. Again, Vizzer talks about this too, not referring to the chart, but talks about 2026 being a year of reflation, which is good for stock prices, good for the market, good for making money. Next year should be, we're hoping, a pretty nice year. And then we have the usual characters, right? Talking up a pretty big year. Kathy Wood saying a Goldilocks year. Arthur Hayes saying Bitcoin to 200K before March. At this point, look, I don't buy what they're selling right off the bat, because they are actually selling something. They're talking that way because that's their business. They're selling products. You know what I mean? But I don't think they're wrong either. Maybe we watch, we watch and we listen to all the takes, because we don't know, because things like this are coming, man. JP Morgan exploring crypto trading, right? We know this is coming. We know there's a lot. We're talking millions and millions of people who are going to get the opportunity to trade crypto coming next year. And some of them for the first time. Yes, they could always trade on chain, but that's not how they want to trade. I remain optimistic. Real quick, coming this week, today, we have October PCE inflation numbers. Tomorrow we have some jobs data. And Q3, GDP. Wednesday, jobless data. Markets closed Thursday. I think they close early Wednesday, guys. Expect a slow week. Expected to kind of trade like a weekend. Okay, let's get to some of that interview because, again, there's some really, really interesting stuff here. There's some really interesting stuff in this chat. Couple points in particular. God, I would love to. I would love to just play the whole thing. I don't think we're going to do exactly that. All right, give me a heads up with audio when we start playing this. But Jordy Visser, let's even start with some talk about next year, or let's say a few years out. You know, like the whole thing we talk about, nobody knows anything. And again, people doing victory laps right now about prices. And the flip side of that, people saying for sure we're going, all-time highs next year. I think we are. But I'm not saying that with any kind of confidence. Well, let's hear what he says about what's coming in the next few years. Again, give me a heads up about audio here when this plays.
Is going to look like. We'll be approaching AGI, who's using their balance sheet. Scenario, I believe 3 years from now, we have no idea what the world is going to look like. We'll be approaching AGI. I think 3 years from now, there's a cliff drop in terms of certainty. I'm writing a Substack right now comparing it to Picasso, who was a realist painter at the beginning of his career, and then realized that photography was going to ruin that, so he moved to cubism and abstract. That's kind of what I see happening. Is there's a cliff of realism into cubism or abstract in 3 years because AI is going to move too fast. Jim Chanos said the risk is that we never get the revenues and that they're delayed out to 2028. I think that is a legitimate argument and a legitimate risk. The reason I differ for it, and I love hearing the bear case, is because I fully believe we will start seeing the revenues accelerate last year, and they've already been accelerating. Dario Modai's business.
Okay, he said last year, he meant next year. Revenues accelerating next year. But he's also talking about, again, he said with AGI probably just a few years off, we have no idea what the economy is going to look like. Raoul Pal calls it the, the economic singularity. He's just saying we don't know what it's going to look like. And I'll just say that too. I don't know what it's going to look like. I think it looks crazy. I think it looks closer to what Raoul Pal says, but I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. And so it's hard to make those predictions. It's just as hard for me to think that the downside is what a lot of the bears think the downside is, though, because of that. Because that new world that's coming, and again, the jobs scenario and the productivity thing, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if that means more productive, more growth, explosive growth potentially, and we keep hearing that about next year, explosive growth in the economy, but may not be next year, like he's saying. We don't know if that revenue is really coming 3 years out or if it's really next year. And his thought right at the end there was he thinks it does start next year. And I hope would be great, but just great to hear from a guy like that he has no idea what things look like in a few years, 3 years out, no idea. So again, when you see the celebrating the victory laps about calling where we're going and prices and whatever. I like this take too, Moonship. Okay, I'm trying to think. Does he address that here too? Hang on. I'm trying to think now through the interview. I don't buy that AI is going to be so great. Robots were coming since the 50s. Like, I think that's a really, really fair point. And it's another one of those things. It's a fair point. I think it's actually smart to, if you have a game plan, if you're trading, plan around that. The fact that we've been hearing this forever and it hasn't happened. I think it's fair to plan around that idea. That we keep saying it never is realized. And I think we'll do that until all of a sudden it does actually happen. And I don't know. Moonship, do you feel like this time it's still not going to happen? I feel like it's going to happen. I believe it's going to happen. Right? I'm not a trader. Right? I'm not a trader. The only thing I am is good at seeing things, I would say, like major kind of shifts, like early, right? And this is one of the most obvious ones. This is not a hard thing to see, but I think the AI thing is real. I think the AI thing is very, very real. And I also get that take a lot, Moonship. I really get that. It's like we've heard it. You've been saying this for 75 years or whatever, right? And it's not here. AI, I feel like, is different and here. And a few years off, going to get, I still think, very, very interesting. Anyway, the main point there, again, was hearing his take on a few years out. Now, here's where I think it gets very cool. Because they talk about how to invest in AI and how most of the biggest AI companies are private. You can't invest in them. And he does make an argument that you do invest in AI by investing in Tesla, and you invest in AI by investing in Alphabet or something like that, right? Like, and he's right there. But I think this is an interesting part of the chat. Let's play just a minute or two of it, because I think we have one of the most special opportunities. There will be a point where I think guys like that talk about what's happening, maybe on virtuals, but I'll especially just say crypto AI is the place.
First $1 billion one-person company type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you pull it back to like, okay, I'm an investor and I'm trying to figure out, I have $1, where do I put it in the market? You kind of have a stack that you can go and invest in. None of the model companies, for the most part, are like pure play model companies are public.
Mm-hmm.
So I could go buy Google, I could go buy some Tesla stock, something like that. There's a way to play, kind of a maybe indirectly.
Yep.
I can go and I can NVIDIA hardware, chip design, Micron. I know that you've been very bullish on, had a blowout earnings. I can go buy power and energy, and some of the stuff that's happening there, Bitcoin miners that are transitioning, that type of stuff. I actually think that there is a huge hole in the market right now where public market investors don't have that many options of how to play the AI thing compared to the private market, right? And we know most of those companies are going to die.
I think that's really, really interesting, boys. I think that's really, really interesting. If people don't see an opportunity, a place, a way to invest in AI products and companies, I don't think they know our little corner, our little pocket of crypto exists. I don't think they know. I think they might know a little bit, but I don't think they really know. I don't know if they realize you can invest in a company like Virtuals. Virtuals, guys, imagine if they did the Caesar thing. I don't think they will, but imagine if they did. Imagine if they did, and imagine the kind of money that might come and speculate on an AI crypto company like that. Imagine. I don't know if they know. I'm going to lean towards, what do you guys think? Do you think guys like this, do you think largely that investors, analysts, the TradFi world, do you think they know anything about crypto AI, that AI companies are being born here, AI projects, I don't care what size, most of these tiny little startups, but that they're launching tokens that are an indirect way of investing in them? And then I think more and more we see the Caesar plan, it equals equity. That's hopium, but I think that I'm hoping that's the way this goes. Do you think they know that that's a thing? And if they knew it's a thing, let's say they don't know. When they find out, do you think they're throwing money at some of this stuff? Do you think they look at something like Aristotle? Do you think they look at something like Repo? Do you think they look at something like Iris? And let's just, we'll put out some names, like some just like good pedigree on Virtuals. Let's even just use the Virtuals token. Do you think investors who don't have a lot of plays out there in the traditional markets start looking at crypto as that place? What if we start seeing some like crypto AI ETFs? What if? I kind of think it's likely. Doesn't mean it's next year, but at some point, and maybe it's next year. I'll tell you what, if they can start copying Caesar, I think all of a sudden it becomes explosive. I really do. I think all of a sudden, if you could invest in the virtual token and it equals equity something, a clanker ETF, buddy. Yeah, Luna, I like that. No, I'm just, and the main point again, you can't invest in OpenAI. You can't. Can you invest in Anthropic? I'm assuming no, right? I don't think you can invest in these AI companies. Again, indirectly you can. A lot of them are insiders. That's how they made their money anyway. I would say almost definitely true. Majority of people use AI to make pictures and memes. They don't know what's going on with AI. Now, okay, Moonship, I don't remember if I bookmarked this part here, but that's also a great point. So Visor says in this, there's a difference, like what's coming with the job replacement thing. God, I hope, man, I hope I wrote down the timestamp. So Moonship, he talks about specifically here, the AI is going to do the job replacement thing. And he's like, you want to be the person who's not using AI, like just to do what you're saying, like make pictures, memes. He's like, you want to be the one who's like leading the agents, right? And you're totally right. Most people aren't using it they're not using it the productivity way. They're not. And they don't know what's going on with AI. No, normies don't. Right? People are just playing with it with memes, but investors, I'm literally just talking, do you think investors know that crypto AI, like this little pocket exists? But also, even if they do, I think they understand most of these tokens are vapor and they're meme coins and whatever. It's got to be equity. It's got to be equity. I think with the merging of AI and Nokia and Nvidia, it's basically happened. Yeah, I mean, Hood's, yeah, in a way, again, like he's saying, like you invest in AI by investing in Tesla and Alpha. Like, yes, so you are indirectly, because everything is becoming AI, right? But I think they're talking about the guys who are building like the brains of AI too. So there's something there. SpaceX is going to be maybe the biggest opportunity next year. You know what I mean? Like, okay, how about this? As a sector, investing in space is okay right now. And he talks about this too. I think we actually have this clip. There's no money coming into crypto right now. All VC money is in AI, right? And he thinks we start seeing a shift back to crypto next year, VC investments in crypto. But I think, and maybe this is probably not a next year thing, but there is going to be a shift from all of those to space, like to space, to outer space, to mining asteroids, building moon bases, building data centers in space. Like, right, that's going to be the next like sector. That's what's coming. We get customer service AI. Yeah. The Moonship, this is where it gets tricky too, right? We keep hearing AI is getting better. It definitely is. And we keep hearing that it's going to take some kind of leap where that AGI thing happens. But when I use AI right now, it gets it wrong more than it gets right, I think. Or it gets it wrong so much that I can't even trust it. Even if it's giving me the right thing, I don't trust it. So I got to believe, and this is like just the hopium scenario, that's we're in the final phases of that getting fixed, because otherwise, I don't know. I don't know. I think I saw somebody saying Anthropic, OpenAI are on Hyperliquid. What, tokenized stocks? It's pretty cool. That is cool. Oh, we got Coinbase's, tokenized stocks too, and we know Robinhood is doing that too. But the space thing I think is really, really interesting. I remember hearing this. This came from like the, I don't know, CIO of BlackRock. And this is through somebody I know who met with him. And he said the one and only, not the one and only, but the biggest thing he would be looking at, watching, investing in is SpaceX. And to me, that just speaks on the whole space industry. So then that means, Amazon too. Investing in space stocks is going to be the thing coming here soon. Anyway, nothing to do with here now. I think the virtuals ecosystem in the crypto AI area is, I actually still think, a little under the radar, and I think pretty awesome opportunities. I believe that. Okay, some comments from him about Bitcoin. I like his thoughts. Now, he gives his predictions, like, still feels like we're near the bottom, at the bottom, whatever. Wants to see 3 days above 92K to start attracting more like retail buying, right? Like, that's the general idea. Still believes we can go lower. He's pretty like realistic and reasonable with these takes, but as far as where we're going next year, I like his takes. I think I got us on the right spot. Let's see.
No way you can say the easy money is still here. The 10 baggers have been found, like the Anthropics and that. People have made money. SpaceX. Is SpaceX going to go 100 times from here? No, it's not. But can you still make money investing in it if you could at a $1 trillion valuation or $1.5 trillion? Yeah, but is it going to be 100 trillion? No. So now you get into the point of kind of we're at a different stage of AI.
Careful. Last time.
Again, I think the crypto AI stuff has got those opportunities. Watch Caesar.
Somebody told Elon he wasn't going to do it. 100 trillion. His eyes get big. I want to talk about Bitcoin real quick before we go.
Yep.
Sideways. I think maybe after something goes from 126,000 down to 80, and drops, almost 40%, maybe boring is the new good. Like it's better that we've stopped the bleeding of the sell-off. Doesn't mean it couldn't sell off more, but at least we've kind of stabilized in this like $85,000 to $93,000 range. Any new thoughts on Bitcoin, concerns or things that you're excited about?
Yeah. So let me do this in my Annie Duke style for people. And again, it's the holiday season. I haven't spoken to Annie Duke in a couple of years. I think she's awesome. And I think her book, Thinking in Bets, is a great preparation for AI, along with Make Your Bed by Admiral McCraven. I think those two holiday books for your kids, even if they don't read them, I will be telling people how these fit into being able to benefit from AI. There's three components of Bitcoin that I've kind of put my side on. When is this going to go back up? Because the one thing I believe in is that it's going higher. The question and the point you made, what's the probability what would have to happen for it to sell off past 80,000 and down to 60? Well, number one, the chart is horrible. Okay. There is no way.
Yep,
I've said repeatedly, I'll keep saying it, until you close 3 days in a row above 92,000, I think the downtrend is in place, and you have to be very careful that it could extend further than what you believe. What would make it extend? Well, the equity market needs to get worse. I don't think that's going to happen, but like I said.
Oh, I got to interrupt real quick. I didn't write the timestamp. I do want to see if I can find it, but he thinks we're going to get, this actually ties into something we talked about 2 weeks ago, that I was hearing talks from some analysts about rate increases next year. He thinks we're going to get some rate increases. He thinks we see a rate increase next year.
Said there is a risk to me that growth is going to underperform value. If that happens, which I don't think the market's going to go down, because when you have PMIs going higher, the big risk is that rate hike fears start to enter the market. Like I said, we have disinflation at this point. This looks like the beginning of a reflation stage, which is very good for markets generally. So I think it's a good year for stocks. But if for some reason the rotation dropped down the hyperscalers, because in the next earning reports, they actually show some risk, Bitcoin could sell off. I don't think that's going to happen. And on a probabilistic basis, a move down below 80 for any significant amount of time to me is a low probability event. The technical side is still bearish. The good side for me, again, I wrote the paper about a silent IPO. I still believe that's going on. I get multiple, and I'm sure you do too. Novogratz spoke on something this week, and I like listening to Mike.
Does anybody know his thesis, like with that idea of his like private IPO? And Mike, yeah, dude, yeah. But still, what I liked about him is he said nobody knows. He said no idea. 3 years out, no idea. But yes, I'm glad you said that, because the most important thing to know is these guys are selling a product, all of them. So they got to have their thesis. You're not going to sell a product if you just say, I don't know, right? You got to have your best guess and your best take, and based on technical analysis and then understanding of markets, and then some just kind of guesswork. Like there's an element to that too. And then you got to lean into it. You got to double down. That's the thing you're trying to sell, is your unique perspective. They have to. I get it. But that's what's tricky is I hear a guy who's so confident. I'm like, I think he knows. He's got to know. He's got to know. I don't see, like Luna, I respect your trading and your vision on this stuff, but I don't think anybody, I don't trust him. I don't trust anybody's take that thinks they know where it's going. You know what? I like it better with prediction markets where there's odds. Okay. A lot of people think it's here and we're at like 90-something%, but there's still that little percent of we don't know for sure. You don't know till you're at, 100.
Because he has a lot of insight on what's happening, because he controls a lot of the flow. And he said 30% or approximately 20 to 30% of all market makers went out of business from that fall off in October. Whether or not the number is right or not, I'm just going to take Mike for his word and just say the event of October was a big deal. And now we have no retail buying because the chart's horrible. And until the chart's positive, macro funds that trade it and retail is not going to be involved. So you need that to turn positive. That's the 92,000 thing. And that number matters more than just the technical thing. It's also unchanged for the year. So I think once we get back above it, I think it's an important thing. But I really do believe that the catalyst that's going to take this up, Bill Gurley said, there are no dollars for anything on the VC world except AI. that has hurt Bitcoin this year, because not getting dollars mean people don't view it as a growth trade. They don't view it as something the way they did. The last time we had a SaaS move, crypto was a major part of it. Crypto isn't getting money because it's all being sucked out by AI. I think that starts to change this year.
So yeah, again, I don't know. I'm just going to take his word that yes, VCs are not spending anything on crypto. Could be. Cats GG's on the plays. Metaverse is absolutely toast, right? I'm curious other people's thoughts, but toast. And I can still see a few years out not. JY's good to see you. CJ, good to see you. Good morning, man. Anyway, I thought that was interesting about investment money. Now, his final point that I thought was interesting too is about stable coins and people looking at all the stablecoin news, and they're going to see so much money. They're going to see so much volume, and they're going to say, "Well, how do I take advantage? How do I win over there in stablecoins?" And he makes an analogy, and I'm trying to understand exactly what it means, but I'll tell you what I think it means.
I think that the future of finance is artificial intelligence and Bitcoin. At different times, they'll be popular or not popular, and people kind of rotate back and forth. But these two things are.
One more way for me to say that to people: stable coins is a Cisco trade. You're going to have a lot of Cisco on this place. I'm going to be talking a lot about Cisco because
let's go.
A lot more volume, a lot more transactions. And when people start going, how do I invest in stable coin volumes? How do I invest in tokenization? How do I do that? That's when Bitcoin will start going. No one is thinking about that now. So I'm giving them the first kind of traditional finance name, Cisco.
Interesting. Okay. So what I think the Cisco thing, like the analogy is like the almost like an infrastructure kind of play. Like you invest in the infrastructure plays, you invest in like Cisco's like hardware. Like very much think of it like the plumbing of like the internet. I think that's like the analogy. Let's even grok it. I hate saying grok it, by the way. I hate that, but I use it so much now. But here, let me pull this up. Let's see. Okay, hang on. I'm going to pull this up. The Cisco comparison. And I like the idea. Again, I think it makes sense. Okay, let's see if I got the chat. Darn, I might not have it. Hang on a sec, guys. Okay, I think I'm asking it or wording it stupidly. But hang on, let's put this up here. Actually, do I have it up in another window already? Because I've already asked. I've already dug in a little bit. Again, so Cisco infrastructure provider for the internet. Yeah, routers, networking equipment, all that stuff, right? So it's a similar thing for stable coins. I don't think he's saying just investing in something like Circle, although that's a play. I think it's the protocols that are like, and even the blockchains that are like stablecoin blockchain, stablecoin. I don't know. Lenders, right? I think it's any of the rails for stable coins. I think is where he's talking about is the opportunity there. I think that's it. But it does sound like that's the opportunity, right? Because normies are not, you don't make money on a stable coin. You don't trade them. You know, you can earn yield on them. But if you want to make money, what do you do? If you wanted to invest in the internet back in the day, we should pull up a chart, but you probably invested in Cisco. So I think that's the comparison he's making here. And it makes sense. Seems like a really obvious thing. But I start looking for those obvious things that attract investor money that's not here yet. And that makes a ton of sense, is investing like that, right? We have a stablecoin blockchain. So yeah, dude, Tesla. Yep. I think we'll see what I'm hoping, and I would just assume is we start seeing a lot of stablecoin infrastructure kind of plays out there, right? I hope we see a lot of it. I imagine we will, and on different blockchains and different kinds of protocols and whatever. But yeah, I think we'll start seeing. But he's looking for the top dog one, which maybe it is Circle. But some really big stablecoin plays, and he thinks, and I'm trying to understand. He thinks that that's what we need to get people back into Bitcoin, like retail back into buying Bitcoin, and that different kind of money. If it's just because liquidity now is on chain, which is part of what I believe too, right? Bring more liquidity on chain, and everything kind of has easier access to it, I guess. So we'll see. Anyway, I like a lot of his thoughts, and also I don't know. He's just another guy talking and sharing his thesis, and I don't know. What I do know, the one thing I believe the most at everything he said is, don't know what 3 years out looks like. No idea. No idea. So I'll do what I'm doing, which is not trading, waiting and watching. Because what I really learned and realized, the worst, I think the worst position you can be in is forcing a narrative, forcing a move. You feel when something clicks, right? When you feel like when you have an edge, you feel that, right? You know that it's different. You have a different thought process about a thing when you're like, oh my God, okay, no, this just happened. Now this is coming, and that's only coming a month or two off. And I know, and these, people haven't heard yet. You know what that thought process goes like, as opposed to right now. And I'll just speak for myself. You're sitting here taking everything in, and you're just like, I don't know. And for me, I don't want to just pick a direction and say that's where we're going. I don't know. I don't feel what way the wind is blowing. I can feel the wind blowing mostly not the good way. I feel those headwinds pretty strong. But it's like we know there's these storms brewing out in the ocean. It's like, oh, if these conditions continue, that storm's going to pick up intensity. And we're like, we got to keep an eye on it. That's kind of what's going on. We got all these things that could happen, and if they pick up that intensity and they hit, well, look out. But I don't know. I don't know how you plan and play here, other than if you're a trader, you've got some technicals you can look at and absolutely be trading this market. God, there was one more thing I thought that was really cool, and I'm trying to remember very specifically. It was maybe it was here. Let's try this. I don't want to stay on this too long. I just want to get through the rest. There's some virtual stuff to look at. But his comment about using AI as opposed to just passively using it, I thought was really cool. I think here, and by the way, this is a belief thing. I believe one of the biggest opportunities out there to make money is a product like Aristotle. It's the product, or maybe there's going to be a bunch of products that solve fake news, AI slop, that kind of stuff. The certification, protocol or whatever, I think is going to happen, and it's going to be really important, and it's going to be a big deal, and maybe gets maybe adopted by governments. Maybe, I don't know that part, but I just know that we're going to see some kind of solution to the fake news stuff through with AI and I believe with blockchain. Okay, let's see.
Did you see the McDonald's Christmas ad?
This might be. God, you know what? I don't think I have time to go hunt and peck for this one. I'm not sure, but I'll just say again. He's saying what we all know. He's just encouraging people to not just use AI like a search engine. You need to use. Oh, okay, hang on. He also talks about AI agents being the big opportunity. That's the big revenue generating thing. It's the agents. It's not the LLMs now. It's the agents. And again, he's saying don't just use them like little. I'm searching for a thing. I'm asking a question. He's like, no. You have the agents work for you. Those are the people who are going to do very well and are going to get ahead. Again, we know that because we talk about it so much here, right? We know that, but it's good hearing others say it. Okay, let's blitz through some other topics. Again, sorry, timing is not perfect today. Build them. Use AI, build stuff with AI. Build AI agents, yes. Definitely. Yeah. By the way, 2 shows coming up that I'll mention that are really, really cool. One of the hotter, I mentioned earlier, Neox will be on the show here probably this week, maybe even tomorrow. Next week, and maybe I should just lock in a date. Probably next Wednesday. Yes, the show is every day. Next Wednesday, we're going to do a whole review of the top 50 moments maybe it's top 25, but we're going to do the top moments of 2025. And we're going to get in depth with all of them. We're going to rank them. It's going to be a much longer show. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to that one. Polymarket is launching a blockchain. This is so obvious. It's so obvious. Polymarket plans to move off Polygon, but they're going to launch an L2. This is almost definitely going to happen. Almost definitely. I mean, if this were a market, a year ago, I would have bet yes at whatever price. Yes, Polymarket's going to launch a blockchain. It'll probably be called, maybe they call it Polymarket, Polychain, whatever. We know they got the Poly token coming. They're ditching their third-party providers. Interesting. 5-minute markets are coming. Cool. But yes, they're going to launch their own blockchain. What's interesting to me is I think a lot of you guys have realized this a long time ago. Me too. I remember debating this out with Henry years ago, when we were talking about what blockchains you bet on and bet on via the token. I'm like, dude, I wouldn't bet on any L1s or L2s right now. There's an infinite number of chains coming. Every application can have its own blockchain. And I assume that's how it goes. So the successful applications, you launch your own chain to capture all the value. Why not? Because then if you're successful, you can onboard other projects to your blockchain and capture some of their value. Why wouldn't you? The most successful apps will be on their own chain. So anyway, Jonah's saying Polymarket launching its own chain. If it's true, it can change the valuation of chains across the board. Why invest in a chain if the app becomes popular and leaves the chain? Yes. I think one of the most obvious things to me that was obvious in 2022. And we'll keep seeing that happen. And all of the blockchain tokens are way overvalued. Every single one of them, except Bitcoin. All the other ones are way overvalued. Their valuation does not match any kind of revenue or utility. They're all meme coins. This very much ties into the Murad kind of whole thesis. Altcoins are meme coins. They are. Bitcoin's a meme coin. They're all meme coins, but the valuation of all these blockchain tokens are way inflated still. It's the one argument I could make for saying we don't see all-time highs in them again. Even if I believe we will, I could see the scenario where we don't, because they're all overvalued. And because I think we get all these other chains. We will get these other chains. We will. And it'll keep happening. There are an infinite number of blockchains. I think I realized that. I realized that so early when I saw how easy it was to create an NFT. When I saw at first how hard it was, and then it became very easy to create an NFT. And then it was, I don't ever want to say it was hard, but it was much harder to launch a token like an ERC20, right? Or a meme coin or whatever, right? It wasn't easy to launch your own. And then it became very easy to launch your own. Click a button, you've got a meme coin. And so it was really early on. I'm like, okay, well then the same thing's gonna happen with blockchains, where it's just gonna be a template, and very obvious. Very obvious. And that's where we're going. If that's the case, just leave crypto and move to stocks. Might not be the worst advice. I mean, the reality is I like the idea of these blockchains and having their own token. They're just overvalued. They're just transaction, they're just gas tokens mostly. They're rewards for their validators, right? Like, they have a purpose. They're just overvalued. But now companies selling. Yes, that's why. I mean, that's why we have to, I believe this, have to go the Caesar route. We have to make the tokens also equal equity. Or these blockchains need multiple tokens. The equity token, and then separately, maybe they all need to be transacting like gas paid in USDC, something. But right now, the tokens are meme coins. And I'm with you here. Here's why I like it, why I believe. I think they're overvalued, and also it just depends on the market. They're undervalued in certain markets and overvalued, and it's a very abstract market. But why I like the idea of tokenize everything, it's that you can literally exchange anything for anything else. And I love that idea. I can exchange my gas token on this blockchain for your JPEG on another blockchain, or I could exchange my gas token over here, or my utility token here, my meme coin here, or my NFT for your services or for your house or whatever. Like, in the future, I still have that beautiful dream where everything is on chain and anything can be swapped for anything. I still believe that's possible, and only because of crypto. And I'm with you, JY. I believe crypto is the future, and I think it's that scenario. Everything tokenized, everything has got a value to it, and you can just swap anything for anything. It's pretty cool. Again, we're going to blitz through. I got a few minutes here. Base app, played around a bit. Pretty cool. You can buy tokens, buy people's content coins, whatever, by just double tapping on it. And if you tap more and more, you buy more and more. Neat. Pretty neat. Yeah, we should probably check this real quick. Just get an idea of where the AI coins are at. 5.45 bill market cap for the AI ecosystem. Our top agent tokens. Let's see. I'm kind of curious where Pippin is. We'll see that in a second. Fart coins at 300 mil, followed by Tibber, Al, Katoshi, Rekt. On the infrastructure side, Pippin's still looking good, by the way, but FET's on top at 490 mil, followed by Virtual, DCAI, Pippin, and MWXT. Still think AI tokens, man. I think there's something there. I got those guys want a way to invest in AI tokens. They want a way to invest in AI. I don't want to say AI tokens, but they want to invest in AI. The opportunities here. In DeFi, it's Venice, Cortex, Anon, Olos, and AI Tech. Okay, we'll skip this, but I will show you on the board right now on Virtuals, Hyperbet. They have like 4 listings here. Little marketing scheme. Here. This is launching in 3 days. Actually, an interesting idea. I don't know how legit, but okay. It's an AI platform that lets you spin up prediction markets and betting applications. So AI powered or AI created like casino games. I think that's really fucking interesting. Maybe it's like slot machines. Maybe it's whatever. Maybe you come up with your own creative, different, very fresh little gambling machine. But AI generated casino in a way. I think that's pretty damn cool. I think that's cool. No, I didn't see TD's thing, but I did see, I think from Goon, I think these guys are doing a buy of their token right out of the gates. They're going to push it to like a 6 mil FDV, like right out of the gate. Oh, all right. All right. So this is scammy then. Okay. TD, who does like pretty decent on-chain, like forensic stuff, said he got scammed by these guys. I don't know if it was from this or a previous product or what. This feels scammy. And again, also, I mean, the idea sounds cool, but also them buying up their token to push it to a 6 mil FDV right out of the gate ain't great. So I don't know. I mean, as of right now, I think all like alarm bells. I think this is scammy. This feels scammy, but the idea is cool. Launch your own casino games is it's a cool idea. Hang on, I didn't even play this trailer, if there even is one. Or am I going to play it and it's going to like infect me with a virus or something? Is there no video? It could be my browser, but yeah, this seems scammy. TD's out for revenge. Send that token to 200K. Good. Luna, is the lighter airdrop a claim or is it an actual airdrop? Do you know? Let's hit NFTs very quickly. Couple cool stories, by the way, but let's check weekly volume and then we are out. Let's see. Last week. Ooh. Okay, actually up a little last week. Not great, but 66 mil. So our best week in 3 weeks. Again, not saying much. Sellers way down, buyers down a little, transactions up, average sale price up. I'm curious, trade profits 11.5 mil in the negative. This is like, this is last minute loss harvesting. It's also people just not having any confidence in the market here. I mean, it's so many things, but NFT's not looking great. We'll say that. I think we talked about this last week. We've seen, by the way, Moonship, we've seen casino products, tons of them. And we've seen so many that just fail and, could just plug into existing casino game providers. Yeah. There's something fun about the idea of launching your own, branded game or what, like, there's something fun there, but it's pretty cool. Anyway, we saw the MoMA again. I think we talked about this Friday, but MoMA acquired 8 CryptoPunks, 8 Chromie Squiggles. Very cool, guys. Very cool. We saw Netflix acquire gaming avatar maker. It's called Ready Player Me. I think they might be talking NFTs, guys. There might be NFTs involved, right? To build avatars that, it doesn't have to be NFTs, by the way, but avatars that carry across games, right? allows Netflix subscribers to carry their personas and fandom across different games. That could be NFTs. That could be. And does it mean you're making money? Does it mean any? No, but it just might mean NFT tech also seeing adoption, and it doesn't mean anything for prices. Could be. But the tech we know is incredible. We know the tech is useful. We know the tech's important. And it doesn't mean prices go up at all. We got USDC rewards for ME stakers. I like this. Stake ME, earn USDC from Protocol Rev. So revenue sharing, this is something they've talked about for a long time. This is it. We'll see how much it is. We're still waiting for the big Magic Eden update as far as here's what we're doing going forward, like the iGaming stuff. But we'll see. And then the last couple headlines, just kind of random topics. But the Solana Mobile, what is this? The Seeker? Or is it Solana Mobile? Oh, Saga. The original Solana Saga phone, end of life, end of support. 2 years in, and that phone is not going to get updates anymore. Which maybe that's normal. I don't know. They just dropped their new phone that's got a massive vulnerability. So, kind of yikes. Maybe we'll cover this like later in the week. But something that like Big Will's doing, which I think is interesting, is like this content creator ETF. The projects that pay him to go on his show, right? He brings guests on, they pay token. He distributes some of the token to his listeners and the people who engage. And I love the idea. I love what he's doing. He now has like basically an ETF, or for him, it's like a coin that I think then gets exposure to all these other coins. I don't know whether it's they get distributed or what, but like there's some interesting stuff finally happening on the creator side, a way for you to win along with a content creator. There's interesting stuff there. So something to keep our eyes on. All right, guys. Yeah, Cats is pretty. It is cool. It is cool. It is. All right. Before you get out, hit the like on the show. Remember to subscribe to Crypto Slam on YouTube. Follow Ethos Swarm, formerly the Swarm_AI. Big update. I mean, it's not an update. I can't call it that. Stay tuned. Very, very, very cool thing coming. Get on the wait list for it, though. Get on the wait list to like use it. Go to ethoswarm.ai. Get in line for that. Of course, I imagine we'll give you guys that quick shortcut. Join us at Slam Nation X. Give us a follow on X, and then finally follow Crypto Slam IO. Man, all right. It's gonna be an interesting week, slow week, I think, but we'll see. Fingers crossed for that Santa rally starting later this week. I don't know, boys, but we'll see. Anyway, have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Maybe guest on tomorrow. We'll announce it if so. But we'll see you then. Goodbye.